All right, CNT125 Network Management Lab. We just completed our physical connections over here on our network map. So we're now going to move on to our switch configuration. So we're going to connect into switch 1. Switch 1, if I look on my map, is over here. We have switch 1, switch 2, switch 3. I know it seems odd. That's just kind of how it ended up. So we have switch 1 over here, switch 2 over here, switch 3 over here. Okay. So I'm going to click on switch 1. Connect into it, enable config T. I'm going to start off by giving it a name. So I'm going to do host name, and I will have this guy we're calling Snmp S1. So we have a host name on there. We need to configure the IP address on here. Remember, interface VLAN 1. We can only assign one IP address. Don't try to add more than one. IP address 192.168. Now I'm looking at my map. 128.2 is my scheme. 255.255.224 because I borrowed 3 bits. Do a no shutdown on this guy. There we go. So there's the IP address. Let's add a banner message. Since we're going to be moving about remote connections between multiple routers and switches, we're going to add a banner message. What that does is when you connect into the switch, it shows a little message saying which switch you connected into. So banner message of the day, that's what MOTD stands for. We're going to use a little up arrow here to say welcome to Snmp S1. And it's going to display that message as we log in. Let me show you real quick. If I do exit, when I connect in, it's going to say welcome to Snmp S1. So as I'm remoting into a router, this is my clue as to what, or as I'm remoting into a device like a switch or router, this is my clue as to what device I'm actually at, in case I've made a mistake. Okay, so now we'll do on enable secret class. Enable password encrypted, set to class. We're going to then do our console password, line console 0, password, oh my goodness, password Cisco, check for typos, login local, meaning the account is local. We're then going to set our remote access to be SSH, so transport input SSH, login local again, meaning the account for this is local. We're going to create a username of test and a password of password. We're then going to set the domain name. We also need to set our encryption key. So crypto key generate RSA. It's going to say, do you want to replace? Yep. We'll do new one keys here. And we're going to do 1024. That is needed for other stuff we're going to do. So we're going to increase the key size a little bit. Alrighty. So I can exit out of there. I have all the basics done. I do want to, oops, I exited out too soon. We'll do config T again. We do need to add our Snmp config. So Snmp server community public read write. This is not going to say that this switch belongs to the public community. Now we could do, if we're doing this for, a hack campus, we might say community hack or something like that. This name here is a way to identify all the devices that belong to the same group. So we're just using a generic name of public on this case. And we're setting it to read write, meaning we can read information here and we can also write information to here. So now we've enabled the Snmp engine on here. So exit, we'll do a copy run start on this guy. I will do a show run to make sure my stuff looks good. There's my name, there's my password, there's a username, test, password. I'm not doing any VLANs or trunking. There's the IP, there's the banner message, there's the Snmp, the console configuration, and my SSH configuration. So if I were to exit now, when I connect back in, it's going to say, welcome to Snmp1. It's going to prompt me for the username of test and the password of password, because that's the account we created. Enable class. Now I'm actually in. We now have this set up to be relatively secure. Okay. Now that I have that done, we have, and that's actually the little test we did right here, we now have this configuration that we can copy, edit, and deliver to other switches. So I'm going to do a show run here. I'm going to display all that. I'm going to copy all of this running config. We'll copy from the show run command the whole way down to the end. Copy that. I'm going to open a note or a text editor, notepad or text editor. In this case, I'm going to make plain text. I'm going to paste this in. I'm going to turn right around and save it as like S1 CFG or something. S1 config, something of that nature. Okay. So now I have my S1 config done, and I have that saved that I can be submitting later too. I'm now going to do a save as, or duplicate, however your program works. I'm going to duplicate this, rename it to be S2 config. So I'll close my S1 out, my switch 1, and now I have a switch 2 that I'm going to edit so that I can deliver to switch 2. So to do that, I'm going to work my way down through and make some changes or edits to it. First thing I'm going to do is I'm going to delete everything above this version number. So all that stuff up there, I'll delete it. I'm then going to get rid of all the exclamation points. So I'm going to do the find replace thing, find and replace. I'm going to say, hey, find any exclamation point and replace it with nothing. I'm going to say get rid of all of them. And now all those are gone. I'm then going to edit the name here to be S2. I'm going to fix my enable password here, enable secret class, because I don't want that thing being my password. Username test, password. So I'm going to edit this so this turns into a command, if you will. I'm trying to make these almost like commands. Okay, so I now have the name, enable secret class. Under, oops, I skipped by something here. Underneath the IP domain name CNT.org, I'm going to put the command in crypto key generate RSA. Okay, crypto key generate RSA. I'm going to say yes. I'm going to say 1024 because those are the commands I did. I said that and I said yes, I want to replace them. I want it to be 1024. Username test password. I can scroll down now. I'm going to leave all that alone. Under IP address down here, I need to edit that to be switch 2. So I'm looking at my map and I'm looking for switch 2. Remember, switch 2 is this guy over here. So I'm looking at my map and finding the IP address of that guy. And on mine, it's 192.2. So over here, 192.2. Here for banner message, I'm going to say, welcome to S2. All this down here, I can leave alone. Here, I'm going to delete this stuff at the end, and I'm going to type the command exit. I'm going to type the command exit. I'm going to type the command copy run start. And I'm going to hit the enter key and make sure I have an enter down there. Now I'll save that. So if I look at it, I deleted the stuff at the top. I deleted the exclamation points. I changed the name, enable secret class. I added these commands to finish my encryption key. Username test password. Coming down here, I added the IP address. I looked at my map and made sure. I added the banner welcome message. That I left alone. I left all this alone. Then I put 2 exits and a copy run start down there. I've saved that config. I'm now going to highlight it all and copy it. I've highlighted it all and copied it. I'm then going to connect into switch 2, which on my map is over here. This is switch 2. I'm going to go to CLI, enter, enable, config T, and I'm going to paste in that configuration. So again, I've made sure I have this all highlighted. I've copied it all. I've come over here and I'm going to paste. If I look, Snmp S2, if I do a show run on this guy, here's S2, here's my IP, here's all that jazz, and it's already been saved, but I can do a copy run start if I want to be sure. That switch is done. Okay, oops, I did forget one in here. After the IP, I was supposed to put a no shutdown. I did forget that in there. I think I have it written up here. Yeah, I did. I skipped right by that. My fault. Getting too excited. So I'm going to go in here real quick. Config T, interface, VLAN 1. I'm going to do a no shutdown on this guy. That way it brings that IP address up. And I noticed that when I looked down here, I saw below the IP that it said shut down. So down there, there we go. Now we have that on. Excellent. Now I'll do a copy run start on that. My fault. Got too quick there. Okay, so there's the switch config for switch 2. I'm going to take my file here. I'm going to duplicate, file, duplicate. I'm going to call it S3. Okay, I'm going to close my S2 out. Now that I have S3, I'm going to edit the name S3. Enable secret class. All that looks good. Username, test, password. Come down here. I'm going to edit the IP address. This guy is 160 according to my map. Make sure I have the no shutdown. Welcome to Snmp S3. And all that is good. I'm going to copy all, or I'm going to save all that. I'm going to copy all that. I'm going to connect into S3. Enable. Oh my goodness. There we go. Enable. Config T. I'm going to paste that in. Show run. I'm going to double check it all. S3. There's the 160. It's running this time because I got the right command in there. And I'll just do a copy run start to be sure. So there, very quickly, is taking a config from this one into a text file, editing it for this one and delivering it, editing it for this one and delivering it. That is some basic tricks you can do for configuration management. So there is my switch configuration, kind of working smarter, not harder. When we come back in the next podcast, we'll do the same thing with the routers.